My name is Ming Long. I'm a non-executive director, but I also would say that I am a bit of an activist for change.
We'll get to that in a moment. But first of all, how important is ethnicity to how you see yourself and how you want to be seen?
Well, I can't separate my ethnicity from who I am. I mean, it's just it's in my DNA. I assume, I think, as I look out in the world, that it wouldn't matter to people. But I absolutely know it does matter to people because they see somebody who is ethnic when I present myself to them.
What has that meant for you in practice?
Well, I think, just as an example, today I was at a breakfast and sort of somebody asked me, so what do you do in this organisation? I said, well, I actually, lead the board in this organisation, or I'm on the board of this organisation. And they have this slight pause to their, oh, right. And for me, that's happened my entire career, whether I was a CFO of an organisation or CEO of an organisation, or when I was running a listed company. There's always been that slight pause where they realise, actually, she's not a nobody, which is I think the general assumption they make of you. She's actually somebody that's quite important in this organisation.
So you truly believe that people look at you and if you haven't got a title attached to you, you're dismissed?
Yes. It's like you walk down the street and unless I'm an Anglo-Saxon man in a suit and, I look very, very corporate, I'm not important.
Is that because you're a woman? Is that because you're an Asian Australian?
Well, I sort of can't separate the two, can I? It's sort of, as I said, it's in my DNA. So I've never been able to tell what it is. But I think for people who work on either, gender diversity and understanding women in leadership, or people working on cultural diversity and understanding ethnicity in leadership, it's actually all part of the same issue, that we stereotype people into either important groups or non-important groups, and we actually do not allow them to be who they are.
Do you think we've made progress with discrimination, or do you think it's alive and well?
Oh, it is absolutely alive and well. And I think a lot of people think, for example, if we got rid of slavery in the US in the 1800s, that discrimination against African Americans would have disappeared by now. Well, we absolutely know exists today. We know that, we, for example, gave the Indigenous Australians the vote, and we think, oh, well, that'll solve everything. We absolutely know today that discrimination against Indigenous Australians exists today. So why would we assume that just because, the White Australia policy disappeared in the 70s, that doesn't live in how we approach people and what our culture is like in Australia? Sometimes I feel like we make a lot of steps forward, and then you see some of the instances in politics or how some people respond to some issues within the community, and you see race there right at the very beginning, or you see gender there, or you see all of the isms that talk about discrimination in Australia right in your face.
What do you say to those who say we've got no bandwidth for this? We're so busy with the glass ceiling, we've got no time for the bamboo ceiling.
Well, I mean, basically, if you're working on gender diversity and the glass ceiling and thinking that's it, then you actually do not understand what gender diversity is all about. Because I think if you understood what gender diversity is all about, you would understand it applies to culture, disability, Indigenous Australians. It is actually all part of that same movement to engage every woman in the community. If you're just engaging to make sure that women make it into the leadership and you forget everything else, have a look at the studies that talk about intersection of women and ethnicity, women and disability, women and Indigenous Australians, and have a look at that experience and tell me whether that matters also to you.
What about the role of Asian Australians in helping build bridges with Asia, helping build greater understanding? How important is that role?
Oh, well, we're in the Asian region. If this is the luckiest country in the world in terms of geographically where we're located, and we have so many Asian Australians here who fight for this country, who want this and desperately want this country to succeed. Why would we not use them? use them to help your company be successful. Use the fact that they have a foot in each camp that you might find hard to have a foot in each camp, but they can do it naturally because this is how they're built and it's part of their DNA. I just find it extraordinary that you're not using all the talent that's available to you to help you be successful globally.